and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Tuesday evening out there to everybody, and welcome into Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Glad you joined us out there, wherever it is that you might be watching us or listening to us out there in radio land, social media world, TV, wherever it is that you want to pull us in. 256-234-6221 to be part of our show. And Luke, we don't yearn for anything to talk about this time of year, so we jump right into it with high school, college, NFL, Major League Baseball, your favorite sport, coming down the stretch, getting ready for the playoffs. I know you'd like to really lead the program off with that, but we got to temper. We got to save the.
There are 33 games. Somebody said there's still 33 games left. I'm like, my God, how much longer is this thing gonna go on?
And then they start back right after they finish. They have the World Series, and then next week they start spring camp. It is really kind of off the topic for a second. You look at pro sports and pro athletes, NBA basketball, Major League Baseball, the schedules and the amount of games and the travel and just the wear and tear, man. I mean, mentally, it's just, you think about baseball, man. I mean, sometimes it's like 6 or 7 games in a row in a different city every four nights. And then NBA, man, they play 2 or 3 games a week. And think about how hard you got to play and the torment that it puts on your body and all that. I mean, somebody was talking about the NFL average lifespan of a player in the league, and it's like 3 years. And somebody was retiring the other day. It was a lot early, and they said, I only played 3 years. I said, that's the average length of time for an NFL player. I said, man, it's just such a tough and grueling sport.
Well, and look at how big the money is now. I mean, if you are able to make it 5 to 7 years, you don't ever have to worry about anything ever.
You sign one good contract and you're done.
I mean, some of these guys are making $40, $50 million a year now. I mean,
that's right.
The money's going to get so big. What I always liked, I liked the old guard. I liked Brett Favre staying and playing. I love Tom Brady staying and playing. I love it.
I do too.
I don't want to have all this change out. I mean, I dig it. So I hate that. But the money's going to get so big that people are just going to be like, hey, I don't have to go through this. And I don't blame them. I'm just saying for me, from a fan perspective. Right,
no doubt about it. Well, high school football is underway. We're going to talk about that. Y'all had the scoreboard show this past Friday, and you were back, and some really good games. We'll hit up Allen Green out at Auburn. That's a topic we'll talk about. TJ Finley in. So we'll talk about that as well. Alabama, Auburn. Both getting things kicked off this Saturday, and we'll talk about some of the key games that are on tap this Saturday. This past weekend was really the official start. What about Vanderbilt, man? I mean, look, I know it's Hawaii, but when was the last time Vanderbilt came out and put 63 points on anybody, much less going over to Hawaii and usually playing a team that you don't know what you're going to get from time to time, but I'm going to tell you something, man, their quarterback looked good, dude.
Yeah, now they're terrible when it comes to tackling. Hawaii was terrible. But, again, as you said, this is Vanderbilt we're talking about. And
they've never beaten
I've never
anybody.
Seen them score that many. I don't think they've scored that many since the 30s or 40s, like 1930s and 40s.
Right.
They normally don't get into the 30s and 40s, and they got into the 60s. Their quarterback looked pretty speedy. Now, again, it's relative to the Hawaii defenders. It's going to be a little different when he gets an SEC play.
Right.
And they also play Wake Forest this year, who's a ranked team. But, it's not crazy to think Vanderbilt could be undefeated coming in to play Alabama and Bryant-Denny. I mean, that's not crazy to think. I mean, they've got an easy game this coming up week. Then I think they've got Wake Forest after that. And there's one other cupcake mixed in, and then they play Alabama and Bryant-Denny on the 24th, I think it is. So, they could be undefeated.
Well, I mean, look, nobody's trying to say that Vanderbilt's some world beater or whatever. I'm just saying that, there wasn't many games, Northwestern, Nebraska, and then that game at 9:30 on Saturday night. And then you look up and you're thinking, well, that's probably going to be a back and forth type of – and they just ran away with it, and it kind of threw everybody for a loop. Everybody I talked to said a lot of people didn't even watch it, and they woke up and they went, 63 points? Vanderbilt? Is that right?
Well, I'm going to tell you what's funny. I started watching Hawaii scored on their first drive.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh, no, not Vandy, not like this. Not like this, Vandy. I mean, we were all sort of hoping for you. And the next thing you know, I mean, I fell asleep on the couch, woke back up, and it was a whole lot to just a little bit. And Vandy was looking pretty good.
Yeah, Vanderbilt did look good. Hey, high school football, we'll talk a couple segments here to start the show about high school football, run down some scores maybe from this past Friday night. Scoreboard show kicked off again, Luke. I mean, look, week 3. It was really week 2 coming up, but we're already in week 3 of the high school football season, man.
It's insane. It blows by.
I mean, it really does. I mean, we're looking at the third game coming up for a lot of teams, and I know Benjamin Russell, we cover them extensively. Went up one of the games of the week in the state was Ben Russell in Central Clay County. And, look, I'll be the first to say it. Nobody in the state picked Benjamin Russell to win that game. I looked up and down all media pundits and different outlets. Now, granted, Benjamin Russell has been down a little bit. We knew that this team had a lot of talent coming in. The media hasn't really seen much until this past Friday, and they went to Central Clay and really kind of did things unorthodox. Start off the season, really just air raid attack. Only threw the ball 7 times against Clay Central, had 190 yards rushing on the ground, and was able to really show teams that, look, if you want to stop our pass, we can run on you. If you want to stack the box and stop our run, we'll throw all over the back end of your defense. So I really like how this team's gotten started. I want to also give credit to this coaching staff and these players for really not becoming a team until June 2nd. Coach Grider and several new coaches coming in at the last minute to take over. And this team, their third head coach in 3 years, trust issues, trying to get all that riled in and get ready to play a football season, Luke. So to get off to a 2-0 start the way they have and as dominant as they've looked so far, it bodes well.
Yeah, and look, I think we've always known Benjamin Russell has the athletes. It's about the chemistry. It's about having the right leadership. And no offense to any of the former coaches, sometimes it's just not a great fit. I mean, you've seen it at all different kind of places that sometimes it just doesn't work for whatever reason. It doesn't. There's not necessarily blame to go around. It just wasn't fitting. And the last couple of coaches, it wasn't working out. Smitty Grider seems to have him on the right path. And, look, all it takes is a little bit of belief, and then momentum is such a dangerous thing.
Yeah, the disappointing thing about last year's team, and we'll move forward, is, they were kind of hitting their stride at the end of the year. They won 3 of their last 5, and they had some games, 3 as a matter of fact, in the front side of the year, kind of get away from them. They had a chance to win those games. You win those games, it may be a different story, but that's kind of how it rolls out. But we knew that a lot of these kids that played and had to start last year as sophomores, some were even juniors, and they're a year older. And you asked me Friday night on the scoreboard show, what did I think the difference was in this team? And really it's as simple to me as maturity. I think 1 year under your belt, Gabe Benton, we know he was a tremendous talent, but when you go from your sophomore to your junior year, and especially in those years of your life growing up, Luke, those are huge. Going from a freshman to a junior is massive, growth-wise, mental-wise, everything. So it's a big deal. But talk about some games that were of note for you Friday night. I mean, it wasn't the most star-studded lineup of games, but one thing that did stand out to me is Thompson's played out of state twice. They welcomed in a very good team from Tennessee that won the state championship last year. They got off to a great start, and they fell apart, and they lost another one. And, man, they are just turning the football over at a rapid rate.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it. They've got now 4 defensive touchdowns against them and a kickoff return for a touchdown against them. So the defense is actually, everybody talks about their defense coming in with Tony Mitchell and Peter Woods, and they've got a good defense still. But when you're giving up points on special teams and the offense – they were going in for the leading score. I'll tell you what happened, Brett.
It was a horrible decision to let the backup come in and throw one up.
Well, I know. I didn't understand why they wanted him to throw. Well, just hand it off.
And it was a horrible pass at that.
Well, I mean, there's no way he was ready to throw it. I mean, he was cold as a cucumber. It was 3rd down, I believe it was, and long.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess they were thinking, we need to get back on track.
Tuck seems to think Thompson's offense is their flaw, that they can't move the football.
But I'll tell you something. The starting quarterback, he's pretty on the hoof.
No, he's good.
He looks like
he's
going to
fast.
be really good. But there's just
but
a little
Lord,
something.
the
He's
backup coming in, if he were to go down, if that's their backup,
maybe we're throwing him under the bus too soon, but that first pass was a bad one.
Not
Now, here's the other thing.
It's just not. It didn't look good.
And here's the other thing. Sometimes we talked about, chemistry and the fit, and maybe sometimes the ball just doesn't match your way. Thomas is going in for the leading score, and as he's reaching for the goal line, he fumbles. And
I know it.
A defensive back takes it 100 yards going the other way.
Crazy.
And it just sucks the air out of the entire team.
It does.
Even the offense has got to go back out there, but here's the defense. Sitting on G, waiting on O, as Trooper Taylor used to say, and we're sitting there waiting to go into the game like we're going to take the lead and then we're going to do something. And the next thing you know, you have to sit for another set of downs while you're behind another score.
Well, how about tighten your chin strap? That's another thing that Tuck said on here. Look, that cost them the game, maybe. Him not having his helmet buckle. We see players all the time now, just very loosely. They said it on the broadcast. Helmet should not pop off that easily.
Yeah.
And when it did, he had to go out, come in, and you see what happened. So, look, Thompson's going to be fine in state. We know that. I'd still be surprised if they didn't win their region. But there's a team in Birmingham that may be better than them, and that's Clay Chaltville. Now, I know they're not in the same classification. Clay Chaltville's 6A, but from top to bottom, maybe the most talented team. And I know Coach Gilmer really well. I remember him when he played baseball at Central Alabama Community College. He's really taken that program. Jerry Hood had a lot of success at Clay Chaltville, but he's kind of picked up the pieces, and, man, they are a runaway train right now.
They're a lot of fun to watch, and they've got speed to burn, literally. You got Mario Craver, Jalen Mbakwe. The quarterback that transferred in from Oxford is KJ McClellan, I believe. He's very good.
Right.
They've got a squad. Man, I don't know anybody in 6A that can hang with them. And I'm like you. I don't know that they're not the best team in the state, period. In fact, in AL.com's power rankings, they are number one. And, I mean, that's all subjective, obviously.
But they are very good.
I mean, look, I watched Hoover play. I watched Auburn play. I mean, I called that game. And I think they both are pretty good teams. But if you're asking me, just neutral field, who do you take? I'm taking Clay Chalk.
I'm taking them over all those teams.
Yeah, agreed.
Right now, I'm taking them over all those teams. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll run down a few scores, kind of set up some of the games coming up this week, some good ones on tap. And you start to get in region play now. And this is the path to the playoffs. A lot of these first couple of games are out-of-region games or up and down classification. Now you start playing region opponents, and that's how you punch your ticket to the playoffs. Up against a break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City. Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
The heat is on, and nowhere gives you more than KiaofAuburn.com. First, we give you more for your trade-in. Just scan the code to find out how much. Next, the all-new Kia Sportage is here, and you'll be ready for anything. Then, at KiaofAuburn.com, you can custom order your new Kia just the way you want. Want more? Check out our selection of certified pre-owned Kias with 165-point inspection, complete protection plans, and so much more. Selection, price, trade-in value. You always get it all at Kia of Auburn. Kia of Auburn, where you're always number one.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating in here. We'll kind of flip the script and go to week number 2, actually, which will be week 3 because we have a week 0 here. Here's some matchups here, and we'll just run down these kind of sporadically. In 7A, if you look down through here, you know, Opelika is now a 7A team, and they've won their first 2 ball games. They've won a big game on the road against Callaway, Georgia, a team that they lost to the year.
That's where Tank Bigsby.
That's just where Tank Bigsby's from. They got good football over there. Opelika will take on Jeff Davis. Phoenix City will go to Smith Station. They're 23-point favorite, and yeah, they're lions in high school football now. Vestavia will be at Homewood, and so Vestavia is a full-point
I
favorite.
saw Vestavia. I haven't seen Homewood. Vestavia didn't light the world on fire against Mountain Brook. Again, it's sort of the same story. Mountain Brook fumbled close to the goal line, or it could have been worse. Vestavia's okay, but I think they're better in Homewood.
This is a game I think you ought to watch. Auburn at Enterprise. Enterprise, usually a very tough team in that region. They end up winning a couple of games that people don't predict them to win. Auburn offensively didn't look that great against Hoover. So I think that will be an interesting game there. Auburn is picked to win by 8. So when you look at it from that standpoint, that's a big deal. But anyway, just kind of your thoughts on some of these 7A teams. I mean, Hewitt-Trussville, they went over and played Phoenix City week 1. I know that they got a win against Gadsden City this past week. What's your thoughts on Hewitt-Trussville? I mean, I told some people this past week, Hewitt-Trussville's been finishing 3rd in their region. If they were in any other region, they'd probably have like 7 region championships.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, the thing that stands out to me after all that you read is why can't Opelika just come into 7A year 1 and win it? I mean, again,
no kidding.
Auburn's pretty good, and they beat Hoover. That's
right.
That's nothing to shake a stick at. Hoover is always Hoover.
Right.
They'll get better. Thompson is better than what they played. And Thompson's played 2 really good teams, by the way.
Right.
That team with Buford, Georgia, they've got dudes and dudes and dudes everywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, but my point is, I really think Opelika can come in and be a real threat to win this whole thing in 7A. And wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it would be. That's my fault. I messed up on a couple of Thompson's at Vestavia this week, and Auburn is at Dothan Heights. Phoenix City going to Enterprise.
Yeah, I thought Auburn played Enterprise
They did. And Hewitt-Trussville goes to, like we were just saying, to Oak Mountain. So actually they'll be at home against Oak Mountain. And Opelika will be at Lee Montgomery. But Opelika's got a chance, man. I think they've embraced it. They've moved up to 7A. I think they're going to be a tough team as they grab, momentum and move forward. All right, in 6A, Benjamin Russell will be at home against Calera. They're an 8-point favorite. Calera has not scored very many points. They were able to knock off Chelsea, but, man, heartbreaker for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Going in to score on the 1-yard line, they fumble, and they lose the game 10-6. That is Calera's win, and then they lost the week before against Spain Park.
And, something else, speaking of Calera, Kobe Prentice, who was at Calera last year, on the depth chart, he's going to start for Alabama as a true freshman this next weekend. I bet y'all wouldn't have thought that last year. You know, he played against Benjamin Russell, was kind of shut out for a while. Then he ended up having a big, I think he had 3 or 4 catches, had a big touchdown catch, had some moves. But, you know, apparently there's more to him. I mean, and so what I'm saying is Calera lost their best weapon, and they're not scoring very much, and they're going up against a BRHS team loaded with confidence that can score a lot. That's not a good recipe.
And Briarwood is at home against Chilton County, only a 6-point favorite there.
Well, I can see that. Chilton County's definitely improved. They've got a good
they got some athletes over there.
They got some. But now Christopher Vizina, maybe he got his mojo back a little bit, throwing the game-winning touchdown.
What about the rematch of Clay Chalkville Hueytown last Friday? And it was a drumming.
It was. Well, it was. And
I really didn't expect – I know Hueytown, I mean, they had high expectations coming in this season.
They did, and but I think they're 0-2 now.
They are 0-2.
And so they just need to settle down and sort of start over. I mean, these are 2 non-region games, so they have a chance to, you know, still get back into it, whatever.
I think the pundits think Clay Chalkville's pretty good. They're 46-point favorites over Pell City. I don't even know if you put a line on something. That's amazing. Pell City, not very good. They're 0-2. Clay Chalkville, again, maybe the best team in the state. So Pike Road at home against Wetumpka, they're a 4-point favorite. Pike Road moves up classification. They lose their opener against Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. So it's, you know, you move up classification, no matter how good you are, you find the tough go. You get the going a little tough sometimes.
And again, it's not like on a single game, you can hang. It's that grind of it all that just wears you down. You know,
Central Clay will bump down to 5A. Central Clay, coming off that loss, they'll have to travel to Tallahassee. They are a 3-point favorite in that game, so Tallahassee's gotten off to a good start. That'll be an interesting ball game there.
I just wouldn't bet against Coach Horn after a loss like that. I mean, I bet you those practices have been absolutely grueling this week.
Oh, yeah, no doubt
Those kids are going to be ready to take on somebody.
Valley, who has improved, they'll take on Beauregard at home. They're 7-point favorite there in 5A. You look down through here, Faith Academy is at Gulf Shores. They're a 3-point favorite at Gulf Shores. If you'll remember the heralded coaching staff that they've got down at Gulf Shores, Luke. I mean, they've got a college coaching staff down there at that place. Pleasant Grove versus Winona, that's usually a back-and-forth game, but Pleasant Grove's a 23-point favorite.
It's usually a lot of athletes.
Here's a team that's a runaway train right now in 4A. Montgomery Catholic, it looks like it's them and everybody else. They're a 33-point favorite over Booker T. Washington. Now, I know the football in Montgomery at the private school level is really, really good. Montgomery Academy, Trinity, Catholic, ACA's good, but Catholic's kind of taken themselves
the reins.
and they've separated themselves, Luke. So
well, they got Jeremiah Cobb, who's running really well. But I'm going to tell you, I think the straw that stirs the drink is Caleb McCreary, that quarterback. I saw him play last year. Man, when you got a quarterback like him and a running back like that in high school, it just is so difficult.
In 4A football,
especially in 4A, it's so difficult to stop them. I mean, because they can go.
Well, they've already beaten McGill-Toolen, so that just lets
and
you
McGill's
know.
not.
They're not that.
Old,
they're not as good.
And they're 6A now, not 7A, but they still are. They have a history of really good teams.
Here's a team you better watch out for in 3A, and it's Dayville.
I agree.
You know, Dayville has made a statement. I know they didn't play this past week with Reeltown. That game was canceled due to field conditions, but they'll travel to Weaver, and they're a 19-point favorite. But this team's got a lot of athletes, man. And you know what? Their schedule's favorable. They're in a new region. It's a lot of teams they've never played before, a couple that they are familiar with. But when you look at that region, they're the team that really is at the top. And so I'm expecting Dayville to have a really, really good year. And they'll go on the road to take on Weaver, and I'm expecting, you know, a big win there for them coming up. Mobile Christian will have something to say about 3A football. Obviously, they'll be taking on WS Neal. They're a 23-point favorite there. Those are just some games there. A little flop down into 2A. Lynette will go to Horseshoe Bend. Will be a tough test for Horseshoe Bend. Lynette, though, gets shut out by Valley. You know, I know that's way up. You know, that's moving up classifications, but a 19-0 win for Valley over Lynette.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Horseshoe Bend, you're 1-0. You're off last week. I mean, shoot, you got a Lynette team that may be a little bit down. I mean, you got to be licking your chops a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Fife in 2A. you know they're going to have something to say about how that's settled. They're a 32-point favorite at home against North Sand Mountain. A couple more games on tap. If we look at it, Reeltown will be at home against Lafayette. That's an 11-point favorite for Reeltown at home against Lafayette. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. B.B. Comer is at Woodland. They're a 23-point favorite, and that rounds out 2A there for the high school this coming up week. So, Luke, some good games on tap. We encourage everybody, if you don't have a team that you're really kind of pulling for, or you don't have a kid, go find you a game somewhere on Friday, though. These communities, it's fun. It's fun.
It's a ton of fun. It's where the passion is you can tell a lot about a community by how they support their football team.
Yeah, and you know, the kids, they work hard every week. Nothing's more rewarding for them than to come out and see, you know, the stands full and everybody hollering for them. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Growing your business isn't just one thing. It's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. September 15th, 7 p.m., the Gouge Performing Arts Center at Auburn University. Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. Buy tickets at the box office or visit GougeCenterTickets.auburn.edu. The new album, Georgia Blue, out now.
Looking for an attorney you can trust for your real estate closings? Wisdom Law Firm at Lake Martin has you covered. Your real estate transactions are fast, convenient, and professional every step of the way. Wisdom Law is certified and licensed by the American Land and Title Association and approved by all local lenders. Visit Wisdom Law Firm at 6366 Highway 49 in Dadeville or at their Auburn location at 2353 Bent Creek Road. No communication concerning a lawyer's legal services shall be published or broadcast unless it contains the following language, which shall be clearly legible or audible as the case may be. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. I want to get a couple comments in from some of the viewers out there on Facebook. Anthony said, tough luck for Stan. Hope to start off the season. Had opportunities to win both games at the end. Just couldn't execute on offense. 4-game home stretch coming up, so maybe they will turn the tide a little bit. He said a big game down in Pike Road this Friday with Wetumpka comes to town. That should be a good matchup there.
How about Wetumpka going to Baker, being down 21-0 against a Baker team with a quarterback in Josh Flowers, one of the top players in 2024 class, and they come all the way back, take a lead, and then cause Josh Flowers to fumble late in the game, get it, and they win it.
Hey, not out of it to the horn sounds, right?
But that's a lot of stick-to-itiveness right there.
Well, that's a lot, especially in high school. When you're down like that on the road. Brian said, don't overlook the powerhouse 5A Gunnersville Wildcats. They've been a good football program for a long time. So, yeah, I don't think anybody overlooks Gunnersville there, Brian. They are a stellar program and have been for quite some time. So if you got some comments or questions regarding high school, you can call us, or you can send us a message on Facebook. We can come back and talk about that. We're going to move forward now. College football for Auburn and Alabama gets started this coming Saturday. It shouldn't be a big deal for either one of them, but it is finally back. I think that's probably the biggest story more than anything. We'll break down. We've been previewing SEC teams for the last 5 weeks, and now that we're here getting ready to start the season, we always save Alabama and Auburn for the last week. And Coach Nick Saban in his 16th season, that's amazing, what he's been able to do over that time span. His offensive coordinator retained him, Bill O'Brien. Pete Golden, believe it or not, back as the DC. Are you shocked Pete Golden still the DC at Alabama?
A little. I think he's taken some undue heat, but the DUI was a situation where I think some people were worried. But Saban loves the guy, apparently. I mean, he just does.
He does.
And, there have been some times where it's felt like the defense was one of Alabama's weaker
Travaris Robinson, cornerbacks coach.
And he's doing a good job recruiting.
Well, when he left Auburn, and went to South Carolina.
Yeah.
He's been known to be a really, really good recruiter. So Charles Kelly played at Auburn. He's a safeties coach.
Yeah, and he's a good coach.
Yeah, he got kind of cut his teeth at Florida State, and so that's just some of the coaches there on that staff. Last year, 7th in the nation in offensive production, total yards, 488 yards per game. That's good for number 2 in the SEC. Defensively, they were number 7 in the nation as well, and number 2 in the SEC in that category, allowing just a little over 304 yards per game there. So not the defense that, we've been used to seeing Alabama have. Maybe got scored on a little bit more than Alabama fans wanted to, but was still a very solid team that ended up finishing 13-2, 8-1 in conference play. They beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. Georgia, though, repays them in the national championship game. So they basically split there during the season. Over the last, several years, let's go back to 2012, just unbelievable records. No more than 2 losses in any given season for Nick Saban. Had a couple of losses in 13 and 14 and a couple of losses in 19 and last year. But outside of that, he either lost only 1 game or went undefeated in that COVID 2020 season. So
and only in 19 were the 2 losses in the regular season. The rest of them were either in the playoffs or bowl game or whatever.
So just kind of breaking it down, Alabama will open up with Utah State on Saturday at 6:30 in Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's just a formality to go out there. But what are you most excited about when it comes down to this Alabama football team? What are you looking forward to seeing the most?
Will Anderson, I think. I'm really excited to see him. He's just such a good dude, and I want to see him succeed. Bryce Young, obviously a very exciting player. I'll tell you something. It's so hard for Alabama to find a way to get a chip on their shoulder right now because they're the favorites in all the games. But one thing that I've noticed a lot lately is when it comes to like Heisman favorites or picking preseason All-American teams, more often than not, people give the nod to C.J. Stroud right now. And if I were Bryce Young, I would take that as a bit of disrespect. Now, again, you're manufacturing disrespect, but sometimes, that's what I think you have to do. And, we were talking on Locked On Bama today, Jimmy Stein and I said, You know, if you took Bryce Young last year and you put him with Ohio State's receivers, now Jameson Williams was great. John Mechie's a really good receiver.
From Ohio State.
But Ohio State's got Jackson Smith and Jigba. They've got Marvin Harrison Jr. Last year they had Chris Olave. They had that tight end that was awesome. They had the Garrett kid. They had the
Where
best.
would Jameson Williams fall in that group of receivers?
If
he
would have played.
Where he stayed at Ohio
Yeah, he
State?
would have played. I mean, Jameson Williams ended up being, the 11th pick in the draft. I mean, he was a thing. But
obviously wanted out for a reason.
Yeah, I think he at the time it probably just wasn't a good fit for him. And he came into a really good situation. Alabama needed some speed at that position, and so he came into a really good spot. But my point is, if you put Bryce Young with that group of receivers against that competition, not playing in the SEC, he would have had 5,800 yards. And if you put C.J. Stroud down at Alabama, would they still have won the SEC and beaten Georgia? I don't know. I think Bryce Young is getting actually undervalued right now. People want to take shots at his size, and they want to. The dude's a magician. I'm telling you, he's really, really good, and he's deadly accurate. Even last year, when you go back to the championship game, he hit a Jai Hall right in the hands, and the only spot he could put it, and Jai Hall just wouldn't catch it. He hit, I think it was the same thing with Billingsley in one play, just didn't catch it.
Right.
And so Alabama needs some better production out of their receiving corps. The guy I'm really excited to see, though, is Jahmyr Gibbs, the transfer from Georgia Tech. I think he's going to be really tough to deal with for everybody. He's going to be a much better pass-catching threat out of the backfield. Last year, Alabama didn't have that as soon as Jace McClellan went down. That's another thing people forget. McClellan went down. Roydell Williams went down. Trey Sanders went down. I mean, all these guys went down to injury last year, and all there was Brian Robinson, who's great. And by the way, prayers to Brian Robinson.
How about a bullet going through your knee and not hitting a single ligament?
How about getting shot twice and you're already out of the hospital and they still got you on the active roster because they think you can come back pretty quick?
It's amazing. It's the good Lord looking after him, no doubt about it.
And I'll tell you something, Brett. I really think he was going to be the starter. They kept him out the last preseason game.
I think so.
And look, he's more of an NFL back. He's not a breakaway back. I'm going to get you 3 yards, or I might get you 6 yards, but I'm going to get you between 3 and 6 yards.
Right. He's built like that. So
yeah. So I think I want to see some more pass catching out of the backfield. I want to see some more productivity from the tight ends. The depth chart just came out. There was an interesting note. DJ Dale was listed as a co-starter with Jaheim Otis. Jaheim Otis is a freshman that's come in and lost about 50 or 60 pounds. Nobody thought that could. I didn't think that happened if you chopped his left leg off. I mean, he was a huge human being, and he just put the work in. And you followed his journey on Instagram. And I really hate saying that because that seems like such a bachelorette thing to say. Journey.
You did kind of sound bachelorette.
But he had his whole story on Instagram all the time, just showing himself losing all this weight, and it was a big deal. So now that he's pretty slim and he's got a lot of speed, he's going to be hard to deal with. So and of course we're not playing the best competition. Utah State played last week against UConn. Excuse me, and UConn went up 14-0. This is a putrid UConn team. Utah State came back and won something like, I don't remember, 27-17, whatever it was.
Right.
But they didn't impress very much. They gave up 190 yards to one back from UConn. They gave up 6 yards.
What is the point spread? Is there even one?
41. Yeah.
It's almost like the Clay Chapel Pepsi point.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it really is sort of weird that they even have one. But it seems like Alabama doesn't cover those.
Do they cover?
It seems like they don't cover those a lot because Saban ends up sort of pulling the reins back.
Right. But even pulling the reins back, you probably still cover.
But what's funny is, again, talking to Jimmy Stein about it today, I said, I don't know that he will pull the reins back this time because what you have to do with so many new pass catchers. I mean, Alabama's #1 target is Jermaine Burton this year. So they have not played together yet. They've only played against each other twice.
Right.
And so they have to develop some chemistry. You got to get Tyler Harrell out there. You got to get Kobe Prentice, who's a true freshman. You got to get him out there and get him used to the system. I mean, these tight ends are going to be new. There's Miles Kitselman, the junior college guy that's going to come in and probably play some. So Gibbs is going to be a guy that you got to get used to. So I don't know that you take Bryce Young out. If you're up 35-3 early in the third, and you have the ball, I'm not taking him out. I'm saying you got to go through the motions because next week we go to Texas.
You go to Texas.
And I mean, look,
I don't think that's any world beater.
I've been saying all
either,
summer,
so.
I think Utah State may present a bigger problem than Texas. Number one, I just don't know that Texas is going to be ready for that. I think Texas still has a lot of problems. They lost one of their best offensive linemen to injury.
Yeah, they're just not very good, period.
So, but it's a big brand name game, and it's going to be scorching hot.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We'll talk about the schedule for Alabama, maybe some keys to their season, some things, if there's anything that you can be concerned with as an Alabama follower, what would those be this season? Up against another break. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey, honey, it's Mom. Just wanted to call and check in, see how everything's going. You'll probably say not to worry. Everything is great. But we miss you. I'll call you back later.
No. Everything's great. I love it here.
Hi, I'm Scott Blake.
I'm Andrew Richardson, and we are the loan team here at Movement Mortgage.
Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you've gone through the process before,
Our mission is to help you move forward with the purchase of your future plans. Call me at 256-397-2771.
or call me at 256-794-1003.
Scott Blake, NMLS number 527945. Andy Richardson, NMLS number 216556. Movement Mortgage supports equal housing opportunity, NMLS number 39179. For licensing information, please visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We were in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Hey guys, this is Nate Paz with Airport Motors.
I'm Connor Branch with Fairway Auto Brokers in Opelika, Alabama.
And this is your first ever Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz.
That's right, Lake Martin. Airport Motors and Fairway Auto Brokers is teaming up for the very first Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz. Make sure to check out either website for the very best selection of pre-owned luxury trucks, SUVs, and sedans in East Alabama. Get pre-approved in minutes online and make sure to use the keyword Summer Blitz in the comment section for $500 off internet price. That's keyword Summer Blitz.
Welcome back, everyone, on this Tuesday evening. Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Last two teams on our SEC preview list are, of course, Alabama and Auburn. This is game week for both of them, so we were just talking about Alabama in that last segment. We'll continue to talk about Alabama, who finished runner-up in the nation last year, losing in the national championship game to Georgia, but they were able to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. So kind of a split there, and Georgia finally gets over that 852-year hump of trying to win a national championship. Let's talk about their schedule. Utah State and Texas, we just talked about those two teams. And then you got Louisiana Monroe before that Vanderbilt game on September 24th. Now, nobody anywhere thinks that's going to be a threat. But you're right. I mean, the way Vanderbilt's schedule sets up, could be an undefeated Vanderbilt team coming into Bryant-Denny Stadium, but I think Alabama handles that game with their eyes closed. The next week, it will be a trip to Fayetteville and take on Arkansas, a team that Alabama gave up a lot of points to last year. It kind of became a back-and-forth scoring fest, and that game ended up being what last year?
I think it was 42-35.
42-35, and it was a touchdown game.
And Traylon Burks was the wide receiver for Arkansas. Alabama just couldn't stop. Now, he's awesome. Burks was awesome.
He's tremendous.
But Alabama just couldn't do anything with him. And Arkansas certainly want to have him this year. But I think Arkansas is going to be okay. They did get Drew Sanders to transfer from Alabama to Arkansas.
Do they finish second in the West this year?
You know, I just can't go there just yet.
I don't think they do, but
I can't make myself go there. But it wouldn't shock me. I mean, if there is a team right now that is riding a wave of confidence more than Arkansas.
And it is, I mean, feels like yesterday, which it really was. They were the laughing stock of the West, and everybody was sitting here going, how in the world is Arkansas ever going to dig out of this hole with what they've got to face every year? And, man, I tell you, just tip your hat to Sam Pittman.
It wasn't too long ago Alabama beat them 52-0 for 2 straight
Auburn
years.
has beaten their eyeballs out the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, this past year it was relatively close, but I think Auburn ended up winning. I can go back and look and see.
The year before that was the fumble. Ghost fumble.
Yeah, well, 38-23 last year, but it was like a 55-7 the year before, and like another 50-something to 14. I mean, they have had no problem with Arkansas, but now you look at what Sam Pittman's done. He's got a lot of energy around that program.
Give him a lot of credit.
All right, so A&M at Bryant-Denny, I know Alabama will be, they'll be pumped for that game. That was one of their losses last year on the road at Texas A&M. It was a close football game. Some breaks that went Texas A&M's way ended up being the difference in that ball game. So you got them coming in. Then you got Tennessee on the road. So, just kind of an Arkansas, Texas A&M, Tennessee sandwich right there could be interesting.
Here's something
Does Alabama drop one of those 3?
If they do drop a game, I think that's where it is, unless the other game I could think is at
LSU?
At Ole Miss.
What about at LSU?
At LSU, at
We'll
Ole Miss.
know a lot more about that team when you get to them on November the 5th.
I can't help but think LSU's new coach has
Brian
a little fear of Alabama. He doesn't want to see Alabama. I mean, he's played them twice. It has not worked out well.
No, it has not worked out.
But, you were talking about Georgia and their 40-year drought. And look, I had as much fun with it as anybody. But at the same time, I'm thinking, Tennessee's given a lot. It's been 23 years since Tennessee's won one. Do you think Tennessee won a national championship within the next 17 years? I don't.
No.
Do you? I mean, I really don't. So, I mean, it's funny how they get to make fun, and I'm like.
Could be a lightning in the bottle deal, though. That's the thing about college football. And, I mean, Auburn's proof positive of it. 2012, you can have one of the worst seasons in your school history, and then you turn around and go to the national championship game the next year. So sometimes there's rhyme or reason, and sometimes there's not. Then it's Mississippi State at home before the off week, and then the last 4 for Alabama at LSU, at Ole Miss, Austin Peay, and then they host Auburn to end the season. So,
I mean, the schedule I think sets up pretty well. There are some tough road games at Arkansas, at Tennessee, at LSU, at Ole Miss. That's usually considered a gauntlet.
Well, you know what you're going to get when you go on the road. You're going to get everybody's best shot.
Well, here's the thing. If it were any other team outside of Alabama and maybe Georgia, I'd probably just go ahead and throw Georgia in. I don't think any other team in this league or any other team in this country, and I might be including Ohio State, could win all 4 of those games. I think Alabama, Georgia, and maybe Ohio State could win all 4 of those games, but I don't know that anybody else could. That's a run of difficult games, and especially when you catch them. After some of these other games, Ole Miss has a bye before you. LSU has a bye before you. Yeah, that's going to be difficult.
And Alabama has a bye before LSU.
Yeah, they always do, but I'm saying it's still.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, you're catching them where they have an extra week to kind of work on some things. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry? The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider. Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sales. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
Back here on Sports Blitz Live, last segment in the first hour. Close out Alabama talk here and season preview for them. Know about some of the key players on this team, Will Anderson, Bryce Young, some newcomers that you just mentioned that you're looking forward to seeing. So now, when the dust settles, Alabama wins the West. I think you and I and all of us agree with that. Another SEC championship for Alabama this year?
I mean, I think so. I feel like I like my chances with Bryce Young versus Stetson Bennett, which is what I think it'll come down to, Alabama and Georgia again. Georgia's really good. They got Jalen Carter. They've got a good group of wide receivers, great group of running backs. But in the end, I feel like Alabama will take care of business on that. I feel like both of them make the playoffs again. I just don't see where Georgia's other loss will be. If Georgia had another loss on the schedule, then I would say, okay, if they lose the SEC title game, they're out. But I don't see where the other loss would be. Are
we saying another rematch of them in the national championship?
I think it's going to be Alabama-Ohio State, and I think that's super cool because it's going to be at SoFi Stadium in L.A. You're going to have 2 California quarterbacks and C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young playing in this tremendous the most expensive facility on God's green earth.
Yep.
And Rick Neuheisel may have an absolute come apart because he is always talking about how he hates it when West Coast kids go to Alabama and go to Ohio State or whatever. And you know what? I mean, hey, we didn't like it when USC was running things for a while. How about that?
That's right. And they were. So I mean, again, Alabama with the same machine that they've had for the last decade. And you look at their schedule. I mean, there's some tough parts in there, but I mean, they'll be favored in every one of these games, and I don't really see a hiccup. Can they go undefeated?
Oh, I think they do go undefeated. Yeah, I think they do go undefeated. And then my playoff scenario was Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, and everybody goes, the same 4 teams. That combination has never been in the playoff together. Everybody just says same 4 teams.
But those 4 teams
Those
make
4
it.
teams have all made it.
That's right.
But never in that combination.
Yeah.
And, you know, I could see an Oklahoma sneaking in there for sure. I could see, honestly, I could really see a USC sneaking in there. I could even see if so.
I think Lincoln Riley can have them
Because
turned around.
their schedule is very
Right,
manageable.
right.
Now, here's the one thing I've seen. Desmond Howard had some picks that make you scratch your head or scratch something. He had
I don't know what that was.
He had A&M winning it all.
What in the world?
And they just now named their starting quarterback, by the way, in Haynes King. Everybody thought it was going to be Max Johnson as Haynes King. So you have Haynes King started. He has Texas A&M win it all. He has Michigan. I think he had Baylor.
He had Baylor.
And was it
Michigan State?
Was it Georgia? He had an SEC team in there.
I don't know that they did have an SEC team. Oh, he had Texas A&M.
Oh, A&M. Okay, A&M, Michigan.
It was so putrid.
Baylor, and something else.
I want to say it was Michigan State.
God, if it was Michigan State, that.
I mean, it was
maybe
that.
It was Clemson. Maybe it was Clemson.
I don't think it was Clemson, dude. I really don't.
Jeez. Okay.
It was horrible.
Well, I couldn't get past the Texas A&M thing, so I kind of lost track after that.
And you got Michigan back in there again. And no Ohio State.
Hey,
did he have Ohio State?
No, he didn't have Ohio State. See, Michigan goes to Ohio State this year. I mean, how is Michigan going to stop them? Now, I'll tell you something funny. I just read a report. I'd forgotten this. Iyaba Anoma, who had played for Alabama 1 year, and he was as talented as anybody on that squad, but he was just bats in the belfry. Right. He transfers to Houston. He transfers somewhere else. Now he's at Michigan. And he's apparently doing really well, and I'm happy for him. I want him to do well. But
everybody's got to find their place.
Yeah, everybody's got to find their place. Sometimes, like I said, it doesn't fit.
All right, so we'll talk about some of these games coming up here in a little bit, but I got to get your early take on this Oregon-Georgia matchup. It looks like Bo Nix got named the starter. Looks like he will be.
Boy, how interesting is that, though? I mean, I'm going to tell you that if Bo Nix had not been named the starter, I would have been disappointed, and because the intrigue is too much.
Right.
I mean, you have Georgia's former coordinator coming to Atlanta to coach Oregon, who is led by Bo Nix, who used to play at Auburn, against Georgia, the defending national champions, in the state of Georgia. That's crazy.
All types of storylines there.
And you know what the line is? Take a guess.
I'm going to say the line is 8.
17.
Wow.
That's how little respect Oregon's getting. So,
yeah.
But
they do have to make a long trip, and
got to make a long trip.
Georgia is the defending champs. They get their quarterback back. As much as people continue to just say Stetson Bennett's not very good, all he did was get it done last year and win football games, and he's back. And there's a lot to be said about a returning starter at quarterback. I don't care what it is, even if he's not very good.
Agreed.
You get a guy that's in the system, got some experience, you've got a leg up on somebody that does not.
Look, I'm a Stetson Bennett fan, right? I think he's a pretty good player. He's not C.J. Stroud. He's not Bryce Young. He's not a lot
because he didn't have the intangibles. Those guys
he doesn't have the arm talent. He doesn't have the scrambling ability. But he's got a very Jay Barker thing going on with him. And so I hope young Jay Barker.
About the young Jay Barker.
But anyway, I think that he's good, and he also knows. Everybody loves to say the term game manager in a negative connotation.
Well,
he knows what he has to do.
That is. I mean,
don't screw it up.
It was who was on? I was watching a game the other night, and they said something about game manager, and they're like, "Look, I mean, it had been Trent Dilfer. He said, look, I won a Super Bowl being a game manager.
That's right.
All I need you to do is go out and not screw things up. Just don't make mistakes. Don't be the Thompson backup quarterback to come in and throw a pass over the middle and throw a pick six when we're trying to make a comeback.
Look,
or
if you
when we're in the lead. Didn't Thompson have the lead at that point? They had the lead.
Yeah.
So that pick six swung the momentum and everything.
If you have Herschel Walker on your squad, don't be the quarterback that didn't win a national championship with Herschel Walker on your squad.
That's exactly right. So, good points there. Up against the top of the hour break, when we come back, we'll talk about the Auburn Tigers and what they've got going on. And, man, they've had a lot going on since January. There's no doubt about it. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz right after this.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your expressway to saving.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto, central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Let's shift over, talk about the Auburn Tigers last year. If you look at it, Brian Harsin in his second season had two coordinators that didn't make it through the end of the year. Derek Mason, defensive coordinator. Mike Bobo was the offensive coordinator. They give way for two of his guys. Nobody's really surprised. You can say what you want to, but a head coach has confidence in guys that have been around him. And Eric Keesaw and Jeff Schmedding both have been around Brian Harsin for a while. He brought them with him. So they'll get promoted to OC and DC. Zach Etheridge, your defensive back coach. Offensive line coach is Will Friend, a former Alabama player. Jimmy Brumbaugh, defensive line coach, former Auburn defensive lineman. Brad Beadle is the tight ends coach. Rock Bellatoni is your special teams coach. Ike Hilliard comes over to be the wide receiver coach from Florida. He's doing a really good job in recruiting right now. Seems to be doing the best, he and Zach Etheridge, as far as going out and the recruits they're responsible for actually getting them to commit. Carnell Williams has also done a good job, the running backs coach, and then Christian Robinson is the linebacker coach. If you look at last season, just a really weird year for Auburn. They get off to a 2-0 start against two Cream Puffs. Then they play at Penn State, and game's lost 28-20. Couple plays in that game right out of the gate in second half. They try a weird trick play, and they fumble the football and kind of suck the momentum away. They had a pass that was intercepted in the end zone when they were in the red zone right before halftime. So that was really kind of a big swing going into the locker room and then coming out of the locker room. So they lose that game. They come back and they play Georgia State, and they go on the road for the first time in 20 years and beat LSU. Things were kind of going good. And then they go to you get Georgia at home. Georgia just better than them. It showed. They lost the game 34-10. You flip the page, move on. You go to Arkansas, win convincingly. You get Ole Miss that came in. You beat them 31-20. You look really good. You're 6-2. You're number 15 in the country. And then the wheels just fell off. I mean, you go to Texas A&M, you can't move the football, you can't score, you get beat 20-3. Mississippi State, you're up 20 points. You're up 20 points, and you're blowing them out in the first half. They score 40 unanswered points. I don't even. It's unfathomable. I mean, I could see something like that happening on the road, but not in your home stadium when you're just everybody's snoozing and you're going. They're going to beat Mississippi State so bad. I remember saying this at half. I'm like, this could be, and we beat Mississippi State pretty bad in the last few years. I said, man, this could be like 60-something to 17 or something like that. I couldn't stop them. Couldn't do anything right in the second half. They lose that game, then they go on the road. Bo Nix gets hurt at the end of that Mississippi State game. You start T.J. Finley. They score on the opening drive of the game, 7-0. They only managed 17 points. They lose to a horrible South Carolina team, 21-17. Then come back. Nobody's thinking this Alabama game is going to be anything. They lead pretty much the whole game, up 10-0. Alabama has to make a drive at the end of the game to send it to overtime. Alabama wins in double overtime or three. Is it three? Four. Crap. Left out two. Anyway, lose that game 24-22, and then a very just blasé, whatever you want to call it, appearance in the Birmingham Bowl with Houston. You lose 17-13. And then all the crap that went on in the offseason that led into that, and you've just had turmoil really since the end of October last year.
Auburn is nothing if not interesting. I mean, you know, and again, I know it drives the fans crazy.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't be so interesting.
But that's the thing, you know, it's a roller coaster. I mean, that's what it's like being an Auburn fan. I mean, I see it all the time, and you just go up and down, and the consistency is just not something Auburn likes. They just don't like it. They're just not. They're almost consistently inconsistent, if anything. So it's so funny this year. When it comes to predicting Auburn, it's kind of like trying to predict, okay, do I think it's going to rain in April 6th of 2023? That's what it's like. I mean, I guess the history tells me it's supposed to rain then because April showers May flowers, but you know, April also is kind of sunny.
Going to be in a drought, too.
Who knows? So you just don't know with Auburn ever. And everybody says, well, you don't know with anybody. No, you kind of know with Mississippi. Mississippi State's going to the SEC title game once. We kind of know with Ole Miss. They hadn't been ever. We kind of know. We know Alabama's going to be good under Nick Saban. They're going to lose more than 2 games. That's what they do. But Auburn, you just don't know. And, well, Phil Steele, who has been on our program, he's world-renowned when it comes to college football. He thinks Auburn is the surprise team in the country in a good way. A lot of other pundits think the SEC media picked them to finish dead last in the SEC West.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
It's funny, if you talk to an Auburn fan, and I understand it, they will say, yeah, we're going to beat Arkansas. We always beat Arkansas. Yeah, we're going to beat LSU. We always beat them at home. Yeah, we're going to beat Missouri. I mean, if you talk to the fans of any of those other teams, they're looking at that game, road game as a win. And not in a cocky way. I think they just look at it like for us to be.
Okay, they're preseason last. Yeah, we better go win
We better go win. And so, and I can really see it either way. I could. That's why it's so hard for me to even throw a guess at what I think Auburn's going to do. I mean, I could see Auburn winning the first 2. I could see Auburn beating Penn State. I could see that. I don't think that's nutty. I think Penn State's a better team, but in Jordan-Hare, yeah, I think Auburn could win that game. I certainly think they could beat Missouri. I certainly think they could beat LSU. Certainly feel like they could beat just about anybody except Alabama and Georgia on that schedule. But at the same time, if T.J. Finley's not really improved,
right?
And look, he wasn't very good last year. No. How much better could he have possibly gotten?
No, I mean that's the $1 million question.
How much better is that line going to be? You just lost. I would say coming into the season, most people felt like Nick Brahms was the anchor.
As if we needed another.
Yeah.
Another, I guess, wrench thrown into the mix.
Who's the dynamic receiver? Shed Jackson he's who he reminds me of a little bit? Tre'Andus Luke, who played at Alabama, trying to look at it that way, where he's a nice receiver. He's not bad, right, but he's not a breakaway guy. Who's your speed guy? Who's your take the top off the defense guy? I don't know that there is one. Maybe there's one that's a freshman.
Yeah, I think some guys that but they're unproven right now. It's a bunch of guys that you haven't seen yet. So
who is on defense? you feel. I keep hearing a lot of Auburn fans say I wouldn't trade my defensive line for much anybody, and then I look at draft boards and I'm thinking I would trade them because I don't see where they are on these draft boards, and that's where I think you can measure up a lot of these guys. So again, it's just Derek Hall is really good.
Yeah.
Derek Hall is a really good player.
Kobe Wooden's good.
Kobe Wooden's really good. Okay, then now who else? And that's where you Owen Papo. Well, he missed a lot of last year.
Right.
Has he played up to what you thought he would play?
Not
when he
yet,
signed
because
with
he ain't
Auburn?
been on the field.
Right. And
so there's a lot of that going on. So that kind of buys
it's
into
a mystery.
It is a mystery,
And that does make it fun, but
not for Auburn fans.
Not for Auburn. It makes it fun if you're. The unknown. Everybody complains there's too much of the same in college football. Well, Auburn ain't never the same.
No, they're never the same, and you don't know when they can be back at the top. I mean, I don't think would anybody really be surprised if Auburn had one loss going into the Alabama game. Would you be totally shocked
if they only had one loss
going into the Alabama game? Would you be like, I never thought that could be?
No,
possible?
I wouldn't be totally shocked. I would be.
You would be surprised.
I would be surprised, not shocked. Yes.
But I mean, you're like, well, that's about what Auburn does.
When
they have zero expectations, predicted to finish last, here they roll into Bryant-Denny Stadium with a chance to win the Western Division.
Agreed. And see, the common sense football side of me says that Auburn team's going to trot over to Starkville, a team that put up 40 straight on them, that's returning 17 starters, and they've got Will Rogers, and Auburn's got an unproven set of linebackers who are going to be matched up against guys coming out of the backfield and slot receivers, and they're going to be picked apart. But then the side of me that has watched Auburn play a lot goes, that ain't going to happen. Something's going to happen. Right. I don't know what. And then the part of the common sense of me says Lane Kiffin is going to figure out a way to score on Auburn somehow, some
and
way.
he can't do it.
And then the time he just hadn't been able to do it. Now I know Matt Corral and whatever, but in the end, it just is what it is. And so Auburn has had pretty good fortune against those teams. They have a pretty good record against LSU at home. They have a pretty good record against Arkansas at home. They hadn't played Missouri at home, but they're better than Missouri, I think.
Yeah,
so,
I definitely think.
And then, Penn State is going to be tough. Penn State's got some experience. They got that same quarterback coming back. They've got some dudes. They've recruited really well. But, I mean, it's a different atmosphere. And it's going to be really, really hot at 2:30.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hot. Bill said, I've already drank the Kool-Aid, Brett. Expecting Auburn to look much improved for many reasons. You mentioned some. Will exceed expectation. I mean, that – it's not hard to exceed.
I was going to say, it's a loaded question.
Well, it is, but I mean, truthfully, much maligned expectations. Nobody's given this team much of a chance. He's saying that they'll exceed all expectations. And again, we've been through this roller coaster enough to know that it could happen. I mean, you go back and you look at their records. In 2012, they were 3-9, 0-8, horrible. You're like, they're 2 years removed from a national championship. How in the heck do you let a program go to that? And then a new coach comes in and goes 12-2 and 7-1 in one of the craziest seasons ever, one of the most magical seasons ever, and should have won the daggum national championship. Had the game won and allowed Florida State to make that last drive. Then it's an 8-5, 7-6, 8-5 before they go 10-4 and win the West again in 17. And then another dose of 8-5, a 9-4 and 19. The COVID year, 6-5. Last year shouldn't have ended 6-7. It just shouldn't. You look at it. There's no way when you're 6-2 and you look down at your schedule and you got Mississippi State and South Carolina left on your schedule, and you're like, well, that's a guaranteed 8 wins for sure. We know we got Alabama at home, but if we've won 8 games at that point, we got to like our chances in Jordan-Hare. Obviously, didn't take being in that position to have a chance to beat Alabama because Auburn did. But my Lord, man, I mean, nobody would have taken that bet. Nobody would have said a 6-2 Auburn team, ranked 15th in the country, is about to lose out.
I wouldn't have. No chance.
I mean, and then that's what they do. So,
but then it's so funny. Nobody would have taken that, right? And I understand why nobody would take that. And then you're running down those records every single season since 2014. Auburn's had at least 4 losses.
Yeah.
And you are what your record says you are.
Go back to the consistently inconsistent. I mean, you look at this past season, for example, the difference in the reason why, and I've said this till I am blue in the face. You look at Auburn's record. Mississippi State should have been a win. South Carolina on the road, as bad as they were, should have been a win. You should always be at the 8-win mark at Auburn. It's just where you should be. Then you get teams, Alabama, Georgia, the LSUs, the A&Ms, whoever you want to throw in, maybe a Penn State, a non-conference or somebody out of conference opponent that's pretty good. With what you have at Auburn, facilities, the way you recruit on a year-to-year basis, you may have a down year every once in a while, but consistently in the top 15 in recruiting, you should be an 8-win minimum team every year. And a bad year for you should be like 7-5.
Agreed.
A good year for you, obviously, you have the potential to be at the top. But you really fall somewhere in between that 8, 9, and 10-win mark. And to go 6 and 7 because you lose to teams that you're not supposed to lose to. That's the difference.
It is, and that's something, usually Auburn's done a pretty good job of that, not losing to teams they should lose to. They shouldn't lose to, I should say. But
they always lose to somebody every year, though, Luke, that they're not supposed to. Whether it was Tuberville against
maybe
Arkansas.
it was just once, but lately it's been a couple of them.
Whether it's Tennessee at 11 o'clock, whether it's Arkansas back when Tuberville was here, when it was a putrid Georgia team coming in and you're ranked 5th in the country and you throw 5 interceptions. And that's the kind of crap that drives you nuts.
And that, again, consistently inconsistent.
That's
it. Here's the Auburn's at such a crossroads to me. And I mean, I've been there especially on the basketball side with Alabama, where guys win just enough that you're like,
but what makes Brian Harson's job safe? 8 wins? I mean,
if he wins 8, see, here's the thing. Let's say he wins 8. Are you really super satisfied? I mean, let's say, look, you lose to Alabama and Georgia. I think everybody's sort of down with that. Now, look, when in the moment you're not going to be happy, but everybody can live with that right now. And let's say you lose 2 others. Let's say it's A&M and Penn State. That's not nutty. That's teams you all probably be underdog against or very close, right? And let's say he goes 8-4, and even let's say he wins the bowl game, is 9-4. Pretty doggone good year, exceeding expectations, just like our listener just said.
Yeah.
But then the next year, see, here's the problem. Recruiting still is where it is.
Right.
And then next year, you're going to have a pretty good season because you're at Cal, who's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Vandy rotates on. You'll beat them. And so what I'm saying is you're stuck with him for another year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It just kind of goes down, the best scenario for Auburn is go out there and win 10 games this year. And can they do it? Yeah. I mean, there's not 5 or 6 teams on this schedule where you go, man, they can't beat them. There's 2 that you're not going to be favored in, Georgia and Alabama. Can they rise up and play really well in those games? Absolutely they can. Auburn proved that last year against Alabama. They shouldn't have been in that game. They controlled the entire game.
I wonder what the average score has been, though. Here's the other thing. Auburn hadn't won in Athens since, 06?
Yeah.
Hadn't won in Tuscaloosa since 10? And I wonder what the average score is in each of those games. It's been the only one that I remember being kind of close was Georgia, Auburn, when Auburn really should have won and Georgia returned that interception for a touchdown.
Right.
With a transfer from Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. And that was when Sean White was starting. And
yeah,
it was 13-7.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That was Kirby's first year, I think. I think that may have been 16.
I think it may have been. Yep. So, I think it was 16. Way past time for a break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
I'm Jimmy Gore.
Hey, it's Brett Pritchard, and I'm here to tell you all about Sims Foods, who you know better as Wickles Pickles. Wickles Pickles, that 90-year-old recipe, wickedly delicious. Relish, okra, and pickles. From Saturday sandwiches, tailgate snacks, to holiday dinners with your family and friends. From their family to yours, Wickles Pickles, those wickedly delicious pickles.
Wiggles Pickles, wickedly delicious pickles.
Okay, somebody's not wearing their seatbelt.
I don't wear seat belts. Might wrinkle my shirt.
That's okay. I'm sure they can iron it before the funeral.
What funeral?
Yours. Almost 70% of people who die in car crashes aren't wearing a seatbelt.
Okay. There. You happy?
Just happy to be alive.
Seatbelts. It's hard to live without them. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. We'll close out the talk with Auburn. We talked about Alabama in the first hour. So the schedule, when you look at it, we'll break this down. Auburn opens up with Mercer at 6 o'clock. This is coming up Saturday, and San Jose State should be no problem for either one of those games. If it is, then you got more problems than you know. Then 2:30, Penn State comes in on September the 17th. That's going to be a fun one. Last year, Auburn goes to Happy Valley, loses that game 28-20. It was a good game, though. It was prime time on ABC.
Did you go?
No, I did not go. Justin did. Justin went.
Oh, well, Justin goes everywhere.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a chance to go.
Is Justin out of town right now?
I think he just lives out of town.
I mean, he travels more than I do. That's unbelievable.
That's hard to do, too. So, and then
he doesn't have any kids.
True, no doubt. That helps. It's not as expensive.
And so he's got plenty of money.
That's it. Missouri at home, and then LSU. So what does Auburn do in the first 5?
I'm going to –
Don't say 2 and 3.
No, not 2 and 3. I'm debating 4-1, 3-2, and I'm going to say I'm going to go 4-1 because I got to –
lost to who?
I think they'll lose to Penn State. I do.
And beat Missouri and LSU?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I think, first of all, I think Auburn fans would take that. If you said you got to be 4-1, you'd lose to the non-conference.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm tempted to say you lose to LSU too. I love the guy who's going to be LSU's quarterback in Jaden Daniels, transfer from Arizona State. He forced Miles Brennan to retire, it sounds like. Miles Brennan still gets all his NIL money and gets to leave with that. It's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
But I like Jaden Daniels a lot. He's going to – look, LSU's got dudes. They always do.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And so – If
last time they were in Jordan-Hare, guess who the starting quarterback was?
T.J. Finley, yeah. So interesting. That's another key storyline. And then, you know, I'm going to say I believe Auburn ends up at 7-5. But I outside of Georgia and Alabama, I can't tell you who the losses are. Of course, I picked Penn State, but that's sort of throwing it up against the wall.
They come out of that LSU game with Georgia on the road and Ole Miss on the road before the bye, and then they get Arkansas to come in.
See, I could see losing to Arkansas and losing to either State or Ole Miss, and then Bama, Georgia. That makes 5 losses. I can see that. And I don't think that's a horrible record against that schedule. I just don't think it's horrible. Now, it's not going to be enough for Auburn fans, and it may get Brian Harsin fired. And I'm going to tell you
7-5, he's gone.
You think 7-5, he's gone?
No doubt. No doubt.
Now,
I think the plan's in place already. I think he's got to super exceed. I mean, I think he's got to absolutely just put the guys that don't want him down there in a position that it would look stupid. I mean,
so 8-4, I don't think they can fire him. Do you think so?
Borderline.
Well, I say that. I don't think they can. They can do whatever they want.
They can do a deck if they want.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 9 or 10 wins. He's safe.
First of all, 10 wins. He's so safe. It doesn't. He's getting an extension.
No, I don't know about that.
9 wins.
I wouldn't be extending nothing.
9 wins. There's no way you fire him. I think it's going to be really hard to fire him at 8 wins.
But 7 is gone. I think he's gone at 7.
God, I mean, again,
Alan Green is gone. We've already talked about this.
I understand. It's tough.
And you know, he hired him.
What if they're 5 1-point losses?
I still don't think it matters. I don't. I really think you got such a push from guys that want him gone, that want to change. It doesn't matter. He's going to have to win 9 or 10 games.
So, all right, then who would you go after?
I don't.
Now that's where it gets sticky.
I mean, I do think. I do think they're eyeing Lane Kiffin. There's a lot of push for, for whatever reason. I mean, Lane Kiffin's a good coach, but I think he's always been. He hasn't been at a place where he can get the type of players he can get at Auburn. He can't get those players at Ole Miss consistently. He can at Auburn. You got more resources.
The reputation for him, though, is not like this super duper recruit.
But he's never been in a position to do it. Where's he been that he could really
USC.
When have they been relevant in 20 years?
Well, I mean, you're saying never been in a position, and I'm saying,
well,
if you're in Los Angeles.
Well, I agree, but, he was also extremely young back then. And,
he was.
And they were coming off all that junk that went on with Pete Carroll. He's following Pete Carroll. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't, but I just don't know that he, at a maturity level to this point, and look at the path he's taken since then. And he kind of came out and said some things this week about being at Ole Miss. It was good for him at this time in his life. He's learned some things. He's a different person. Whether he is or not, he's saying he is. I just think that maybe he's at a different spot in his life where now he's handed an opportunity at a place like Auburn where you can go out and get top-tier talent. And we know what type of play caller he is and what type of coach. And you put top-tier talent in his lap, then he can do some things.
Again, I like Lane Kiffin. I think he's a changed person. I dig him. But I think to pay what you'd have to pay to get rid of Harsin, and then to pay what you'd have to pay to get somebody like Kiffin.
Well,
I wonder, is it worth it?
They're going to.
What's the difference? The difference might be a game a year.
It could, or it could be a lot better. I mean, Alabama went through a stretch, and I'll use them for example. Coach after coach after coach, and some things they couldn't help. The university couldn't help. They couldn't help what Mike Price did, but they hired him. They couldn't help what Dennis Franchione did, but he left. Mike Shula wasn't very good, period.
Yeah.
And he kind of, the thing about Mike Shula with me and Alabama fans is most Alabama fans just absolutely throw him under the bus, back up, drive forward, back up again. He took the Alabama job when nobody wanted that job. He kind of helped bridge the gap for Alabama at that time, and he came back and kind of took one for the team. And then you basically hired Rich Rodriguez, and his wife didn't want to be here, and ironically, they end up back in Alabama coaching at Jacksonville State. And you go out and you sell out for Nick Saban, and it works out. So I don't know the next Nick Saban. I'm not saying Lane Kiffin's going to be next Nick Saban. He's not. But you can't stop trying to go out and find a guy that is a fit for your program.
First of all, I agree with that. The second thing I'd say is
I don't think anybody believes Brian Harsin's a long-termer at Auburn, period.
Agreed with you.
Yeah.
Brett, I would have fired him this year.
Yeah, right.
Okay. But what I'm saying is I don't know that I'd go after – you were talking about fits for programs. I can't imagine anywhere else that talks about family and this and that, and then you bring Lane Kiffin in. It seems like the biggest mismatch in history.
Well, I totally understand that. And again, it may not be Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin may not be the coach. I'm just saying that's where a lot of push is coming from. You also hear a bunch of stuff from Hugh Freeze. And I don't know.
I would say the same thing.
Well, true.
Yeah.
And vice versa. He's going to build a house around these parts. He obviously loves this area. He wants to be around here. I don't know where it lands. I mean, who outside of coaches that are already in places is going to be the next guy?
Therein lies the rub for me, right? Like, So we can talk about this
right
with play money because it's not our money.
That's exactly
but
right.
But my point is, gosh, you'd have to pay a lot of money to Harsin and all his assistants. You have to pay a lot of money to Kiffin. Now Hugh Freeze, I guess he could probably be gotten on the cheap, but he's got his own set of issues.
What's cheap nowadays?
I know.
Though? I mean,
No, what I'm saying is, I wonder if there isn't some kind of assistant out there, and I don't know the assistants that well, that you say, okay, we want you to come in here. We're going to give you this shot. You who does know about recruiting, who knows the South, who's not from freaking Boise, Idaho.
Right.
You know, who doesn't have a troubled past.
You know, and to me, Alan Green kind of made his own bed. You know, and look, I'm not saying Kevin Steele was not a guy that I wanted at Auburn. I think there's a lot of fans that did not want Kevin Steele at Auburn, but there were some your power brokers at Auburn that had already pretty much, I think, worked the deal behind closed doors, and Alan Green goes, no, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make the calls on this. And he goes out, Luke, if you go back, if you tell me you know of somebody that mentioned Brian Harsin's name in Auburn's coaching search, I'm going to call you a bald-faced liar.
Well, not only that, Brett, I remember being in the car going down to, I think, the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game, if I remember.
That's around the time.
And when Gene Chizik was hired.
And we were all in the car together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And y'all were saying, I think it's Spurrier, or somebody talked about a plane, somebody did this. And
we almost drove off the road.
And, like, Gene Chizik, we're like, do what now? And but the point being that I wonder if which one was Harsin or Chizik more surprising to you?
I'm going to say Harsin because Gene Chizik's name had been brought up.
Well, and Gene Chizik had been
and he'd been at Auburn. And, you know, as a coordinator. And, now, you know, in the rub was, well, he was at Iowa State. Yeah. You can't win at Iowa State. And so they kind of were able to dismiss a 5-19. You know, Gene Chizik, he was going to be the coach in waiting at Texas, but decided to, you know, he had some pedigree to him. Hey, nobody bring this guy's name up. When he was brought up, people started going, who? Who is that? Where is he at?
We do a sports show. We did not know who he was.
And nobody brought his name up on any show, on any in any publication, on any blog, anywhere. And Alan Green totally pulled one out, and the media was so shocked. Nobody had anything bad to say because they were already had Billy Napier and Hugh Freeze and all these different names, and they'd already had their ammo of, okay, here's the good and bad of these. They were so daggum shocked, they didn't know what to say. They're like, well, hell, nobody knew this one. So we're just going to kind of see what he says.
It would be kind of funny if.
Does Brian Harsin realize where Auburn is? Does he know it's in the South?
It would be kind of funny if Lane Kiffin
ended up at Auburn. This is not Auburn, California.
It would be funny if Lane Kiffin ended up at Auburn. Then he's been the head coach at Tennessee. He's got them so mad they're throwing mustard at him. He'd have the Ole Miss fans so mad they wouldn't know what to do.
Well, this will be twice that Auburn's pulled somebody from Ole Miss. Tuberville not leaving Ole Miss, but in a pine box. The next week it's in Auburn. Yeah. Lane Kiffin just comes out with all this. Man, you know, Ole Miss has changed my life. It's turned everything around at the end of the season. He comes to Auburn. I mean, yeah, right. I mean,
it would be you know, you think about, obviously you got the Saban-Kiffin dynamic. You'd have a pretty interesting dynamic between Kirby and Kiffin, I'm sure. I mean, obviously you'd already have a dynamic between the Mississippi State with
Leach,
Mike Leach.
If he's still there.
It would be a bizarre situation. I would have.
And didn't you just say when we started previewing Auburn, college football, everybody talks about everything stays the same.
Yeah.
Not at Auburn.
No, not at all. It doesn't. And so that would be, you talk about not being the same. That would not be the same. It would be a thing, man. But again, I feel like Auburn would probably lean more towards. Look, if the boosters really are making the moves here, that everybody keeps talking about this mythical group of boosters, which it may be, but everybody loves to throw Jimmy Rain under the bus. I really don't believe Jimmy Rain is the one behind all this. I really don't. But regardless, if the boosters really are doing all this, I'm guessing they're going to have somebody that's going to be more of marionette than a Lane Kiffin. That's sort of
Who would you think it would be?
I mean, that's what I don't know. I'll tell you this, Brett. I didn't think it was going to be Kevin Steele when it looked like it was going to be Kevin Steele. I was like, what are you doing? But see, the boosters kind of wanted to have their dude in there.
Yeah, I know it. It's
now, again, if I'm Auburn, I don't go out of the region, but I go somewhere that
we
has.
went about as far away to find a guy.
I mean, how could you even get from
we were
Boise to
almost in Canada.
Yeah,
I mean, we were real close.
But I mean, why wouldn't you go somewhere like? I mean, shoot, why wouldn't Auburn? Why wouldn't they crawl to Lexington, Kentucky, and say Mark Stoops?
I mean, I'm with you, man.
I mean, I would have Mark Stoops over Lane Kiffin. I would do it all day, every day. Lane Kiffin's funnier. He's sexier in terms of a splash.
Yeah, but when you look at what the product is on the field and where Mark Stoops
is
versus him, I'm with you, man.
You're winning 10 games. Now, Lane Kiffin did win 10 games at Ole Miss last year.
No.
But let me say this. You're going to hire the guy that you just fired beat last year?
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, I'm hiring Mark Stoops. I'm begging Mark Stoops publicly.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you what, if Alabama said right now, even at Kentucky, we're naming Mark Stoops coach and waiting, I'm down with it because, number one, whoever we get ain't going to be Nick Saban, so I got to learn to live with it.
I'm not sure that he wouldn't be a better choice than Dabo Swinney.
Agreed.
I'm serious. I'm with you on that. So, all right, we're way past another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau tri-tunes, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Now is the best time to sell your current home, as it's a seller's market, meaning that on average you can get up to 96% of your asking price. Who's the most aggressive and most experienced to help you sell your home?
Hi, I'm Rhonda Gaskins, broker Century 21 Lake Area Realty in the Lake Martin area. We are getting a 96% return on our listing price, the sales price in this area. Call me today and let me go to work for you. 256-749-3644.
Planning season is here. Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
GillsOpelika.info. Get pre-approved in minutes online at GillsOpelika.info for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Gills Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple comments. Anthony said, baseball comment coming in. He's got it for you, Lou. Who do y'all have winning the Dodgers-Mets series? As a Braves fan, pick your poison right now. Right. I hate both of them, so I don't really care. Can they tie? No, they can't tie. So, and the Braves are losing right now to the Rockies 3-2. And
well, the Dodgers are beating the Mets 4-3.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And so But the Braves have got to beat the Rockies to gain a game. I mean, they can't lose this one. Let's go to the phone lines.
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How y'all doing tonight?
What's up, my man?
Not a whole lot. Hey, I was just gonna mention something to you. Until he's not the coach, he's still the coach. I mean, he might go 10-2 this year, like you're talking about there. But I don't know. He's gonna have to do something.
Well, I think that's the mark. I mean, I really feel like, and in fairness, it's not really about Harsin. It's about the people making the call, and I think they have in their mind made up 9 or 10 wins is, okay, I can't fire a guy that wins 9 or 10 games, but I can sure start making a case at 8 wins, and I can dang sure make a case at 7 because he went 6-7 last year. And if he only wins 7 this year, I think they've got the ammo to get rid of him.
They probably do.
But he is the coach. You're exactly right.
Well, I'm like this about it. It's just like, we all were talking about. It could be anybody, but I want it to be somebody that at some point, we got to understand. Yeah, money talks and BS walks, but that damn general and his man that put all that stuff in. It didn't help anybody.
No, they've just created a bigger mess.
Oh, man, I hear you say that all the time. That's just like the gospel to me. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good evening. I'm not picking at y'all at all.
No, we think the call.
You go down these rabbit holes, and all of a sudden, next thing you're talking about is who's going to be the coach in 5 years.
That's what we do on talk shows. Hey, look, I'm ready for Saturday to get it kicked off. And
Are you going Saturday?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Okay.
Not this week. I might go to another one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You couldn't get a ticket for Mercer?
Get a ticket. I got a ticket the first time y'all came down there, and we beat your butt. Y'all have a good evening.
Hey, thank you, James. Appreciate you, brother. Always a good call there.
Yeah,
hey, all right, let's talk about some of the games coming up. It's on Thursday. You got West Virginia at Pitt.
That's actually the backyard brawl. That's a lot of fun. If you remember,
couches.
Isn't it Pittsburgh that kept West Virginia from playing for a national championship?
It was
when they were coached by the guy who coached the Cowboys, the bad mustache, not Brian Van Gorder.
I didn't have Brian Van Gorder.
God, what was his name, Brett? I need my Prevagen. I'm sorry, I don't.
The bad mustache.
Wentz. Dave. God. Somebody type in. You'll know who it is.
All right, anyway, couches beware, West Virginia at Pittsburgh. Penn State at Purdue on Thursday night at 7 o'clock on Fox.
That's going to be a fun game. I like
anyway,
Purdue
wins
is
that
not
game?
bad.
Anyway, Purdue wins that game?
Yeah, I think Purdue could win
wow,
that
if
game.
Penn State starts off with a loss there.
By the way, I've been to a game at Purdue. And that I'm talking about. Look, the drum, first of all, is what it is. But they have this thing.
I think the drum's stupid.
There are some annoying things at various, look, I'm the cowbells at Mississippi State. That's about as annoying as it can be. I mean, it's just, and it's
Dave Wanstead.
If you're going to Dave Wanstead, there we go. Thank you,
Reed. You the man.
But
he was at Chicago. If you'd have said the guy that coached Chicago Bears,
but didn't he coach Did he not coach the Cowboys too? He coached everybody.
I did. I know he did. I think
he coached the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Yeah, he did definitely coach Pittsburgh.
But anyway,
and he has a weird voice.
Yeah, but anyway, well, you can't hear him because that mustache filters out all his words. But anyway, what was I even talking about? Oh, going to the Purdue game. So they do this thing where they do this boiler up, and Brett, it never stops. And I was an Ohio State Purdue game, and I was thinking, y'all know you're getting beat by about 35 right now. Y'all can boil her down just a little bit. Let me try and watch some of this.
We went to the Citrus Bowl, and Auburn played Penn State, and Auburn won the game. The only chant Penn State has is "We are Penn State. We are Penn State. We are."
They got nothing else.
Nothing else. Nothing.
Well, that makes sense though. I mean, the whole thing.
I'm glad you are.
But the whole thing is so bland. I mean, and I do like Penn State's uniforms because I like the classic But
boy, they
it is
just bland to death.
And I've been to Penn State. I went to the Alabama-Penn State game in 2011.
We are.
And it is a goat ranch. That place.
It is.
It's like somebody said, all right, I want to find the furthest place I can put a stadium that's still considered a part of this campus. And, I mean, you're just parking.
I've heard nightmares about it. All right, when you get put on Friday, nobody cares. Look, there's some things to be said about being exclusive, but around this country on Friday nights, high school football, when you're the college game on Friday night at 9 o'clock, nobody cares. TCU at Colorado, nobody cares.
That's this Friday, right?
Yeah.
No, but I'll tell you what, it's not a bad move for TCU in Colorado because they need the exposure any way they can get it, and the people are going to bet on it. That's what it comes down to.
All right, Saturday. All right, not the most star-studded lineup, but there are a few games that will hit. Cincinnati at Arkansas. Your thoughts on that one?
I'm excited about it. I want to see KJ Jefferson. I really do. I think he's the second best quarterback in this league behind Bryce Young. Yes, I mean over Stetson Bennett. Yes, I mean over Hendon Hooker. Yes, I mean over Will Rogers. I think KJ is a really good player.
Luke, you're leaving TJ out.
No, I didn't. I know what I'm doing. You heard me.
Memphis at Mississippi State. Can Mississippi State avenge?
It's not a bad game. And here's the other thing. They play Memphis. They also travel to Arizona later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, by the way, travels to BYU later in the year.
They sure do.
So I appreciate their schedule.
Army at Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, man.
Army, do you know Army has a defensive tackle that most people think is going to be a first-round pick? How wild is that?
That's unbelievable. That hadn't happened since the 20s, has it? Notre Dame at Ohio State. Anything to that?
I mean, I'm going to watch it. It's going to be interesting. They did say, you know who's going to be the guest picker for ESPN? Did you see that?
No,
Jack Harlow. Now, I don't know a lot about him, but I know he's a hip-hop guy, and I figured, okay, maybe he's from Ohio or he went to Ohio State. No.
He's just a guest picker.
Just a dude. I mean, see, that's where you got to get Jack Nicholas, get anybody, get LeBron James, get Bronny James, get somebody that would have gone to Ohio State or is an Ohio State fan.
Instead of just somebody.
Or a Notre Dame fan.
All right, Utah at Florida, 6 o'clock on ESPN.
I like Utah. I think it's going to be a fun game. I hate the fact that this sucks for us. Auburn, Alabama,
I know
Ohio State.
All that's at the same time. Oregon, Georgia, 2:30.
That's at 2:30. I mean, I think Georgia's going to win. But, boy, it's really hard for me to pull for Bo Nix, honestly. I mean, he sort of he could rub Alabama fans especially the wrong way. But I'm going to pull for Oregon. I mean, I am. I mean, I usually pull for the SEC, but I'm not going to be heartbroken if Georgia wins. And I think Georgia will win. But I kind of want to pull for Oregon. I think that'd be a great story.
We'll see.
You don't think it'll happen?
No, I don't. I don't think it'll happen. Utah State, obviously, at Alabama and Mercer at Auburn. Sunday, Florida State and LSU in New Orleans.
I think that is a sneaky fun game. By the way, the kid with the pants pulled up on the Duquesne sideline from Florida State. Never seen anything like that in my
How did that happen?
Life.
I didn't think you could pull football pants.
He
up
looked
that
like
high.
one of the kids in Alice in Wonderland.
Exactly. Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Tweedledum. Yeah.
Whichever one.
He could be. And I'm going to tell you, that kid, he had, I don't know what he's doing now. He had to transfer.
Yeah, well, he had to just quit everything.
Who was handing out uniforms and said,
I didn't think you could pull football pants up that high.
They look, Brett, if you look close, I think they're
those
sweatpants.
Babe Ruth pants?
I think they're sweatpants.
I thought they was Babe Ruth pants.
I'm going to tell you, this is the truth. I'm going to tell you a funny true story real quick if you got time. And we do because it's our show. But when I tried out for basketball when I was in 7th grade, I was still really chunky. I was tall, but I wasn't as tall as I am now. Had my rec specs. I was uncoordinated. But we had a coach that didn't believe in cutting anybody. So we had about 44 players from the basketball team. It's a lot of players for a basketball team. We had to take 2 buses just to go to Coosa. And so, but when he was like, everybody's going to play. And even I was like, I don't need to play. I just need to, I'm trying to learn how to play. You don't need.
No, you getting in.
And well, so the only problem, since I wasn't a starter or a reserve or a backup reserve, I got to pick my uniform last.
Oh, God.
And I'm talking about I was chunky, and so all they had left was some extra smalls and a couple of mediums. And so when I put those my warm-up pants on, they look like the jeggings that you see now. And so to get my warm-up pants off, I had to take my high tops off to pull them off Because everybody else is ripping them and doing it.
Right.
And mine were on so tight, I was cutting off it was ruining my veins. And so
you thought they should have some compression, stockings.
Yeah, I mean that's
not what they were intended to be.
No, I mean now everybody wears pants like that to play basketball. Like it's a cool look.
Right.
It wasn't cool back then. Trust me. Everybody was in the stands laughing. I was like, this is good for the old self-confidence.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, final segment, we'll do a little rank 'em. How about that? I'm down.
Brubaker Motors in Montgomery is the largest and fastest growing used car dealership in the River region. You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker. It's better at Brubaker.com.
Brubaker,
You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker.
BREWBAKER. BREWBAKER.com.
It's better at Brubaker.com.
At CNT Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Hey, it's Brett Pritchard, and I'm here to tell you all about Sims Foods, who you know better as Wickles Pickles. Wickles Pickles, that 90-year-old recipe, wickedly delicious. Relish, okra, and pickles. From Saturday sandwiches, tailgate snacks, to holiday dinners with your family and friends. From their family to yours. Wickles Pickles, those wickedly delicious pickles.
Wickles Pickles, wickedly delicious pickles.
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget, and with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-up, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
Become a member of the Superior family. Superior GMC Cadillac, Superior Hyundai, or Superior Automotive Pre-Owned. Between our 3 dealers in East Central Alabama, we offer the superior selection and service for any buyer's needs. All with the personal touch of being locally family-owned and operated. Check out any of our dealers online, or our 3 great lots in Anniston on Quintard, or our pre-owned Superstore Pell City, and join the Superior family of value.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Sunshine Heating and Air. Rank 'em. Luke, here we go.
Okay, I'm with it.
We got Michael Jackson, born on this day in 1958. Billie Jean, Thriller, PYT, pretty young thing. Beat It, Smooth Criminal.
Oh, what is Smooth Criminal even doing in that grouping? It's not a bad song, but for the love of all things holy, Andy.
He threw it in there.
It's like one of these things is not like the other. It's not a bad song. How about Man in the Mirror versus Smooth Criminal?
Man in the Mirror, pretty good.
Okay. Gosh, I don't know how you rank any of those songs off Thriller. They're all awesome, every one of them. Even Human Nature, which everybody considered to be the worst one at the time. When the Human Nature comes on right now, guess what you do? Don't change it.
You never change that song.
Look, Michael Jackson was so good. He transcended.
Yeah, how is Smooth? All right, Andy.
He transcended all his crimes.
He did.
I mean, he did some pretty. He is alleged to do some pretty horrible stuff, and we're all like, Boy, he could sing, though.
He's a smooth criminal. He like
Maybe that's what he wasn't saying.
For a pretty young thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Thriller.
It's just human nature.
Beat it.
Yeah.
I got to stop.
You better stop now. Ain't no telling where you're going.
And who's Billy Jean?
I don't even know how he looks at the man in the mirror.
Well, how are we ranking this crap?
Look, you can't. Ranking Thriller is a crime against humanity to me.
So it's number one.
They're all one.
Every one of them.
Every one of them. Take Smooth Criminal out, and the rest of them are tied for one. I don't know how, because all the rest of them are all for Thriller, right?
They are.
Okay.
All right, Joel Schumacher.
Okay.
St. Elmo's Fire.
That's good.
The Lost Boys.
That's good.
Flatliners.
That's okay.
Falling Down.
Okay. Hold it. I love Falling Down. Falling Down was ahead of its time. You know what? It was about road rage, but not necessarily road rage, just like rage in general.
Right.
And dealing with anger and just society beating you down and everything going wrong. And it was ahead of its time, and it was really good. It got sort of panned when it first came out, if I remember right. And I remember coming out of the theater going, I liked it. I thought it was good.
So what are you thinking right here?
I'm putting Falling Down 1. I'm putting Lost Boys 2.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't even finish.
Okay, what's the other
Time to Kill.
All right. I'm putting Falling Down 1. I'm putting Lost Boys 2. You know, they've been talking about remaking Lost Boys forever. Are they ever going to do it?
I don't know.
Lost Boys 2, St. Elmo's Fire 3. What was the Flatliners 4 and A Time to Kill 5?
Okay.
I thought A Time to Kill's 5. Now look, again.
Time to Kill's
That's
pretty
not a
good.
bad grouping.
That's right.
So
somebody's got to be 5, right?
Yeah.
All right, Cameron Diaz. You like Cameron Diaz?
No, she sort of gets on my nerves.
There's Something About Mary.
That's one.
Gangs of New York, Shrek, and Night and Day.
Night and Day's terrible. Shrek, I might even put it.
Yeah,
No, Gangs of New York is 2.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you something. She about ruined the movie for me. Like, everybody else was awesome. I thought she was bad in that movie.
Yeah. I don't think she didn't even really fit in that kind of movie.
She doesn't. I mean, I'm like.
Does she?
Who would be a prostitute at that time looking that good?
Yeah, it was out of whack, so.
Yeah. Michael Jackson wasn't.
Yeah, we're done. We're done tonight. Okay, we're shutting it down. Anyway, it's been fun out there. College football back in full force. This coming up Saturday, so everything's all good, right? At least right now, everybody's 0-0. For Luke Robinson, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. Hope you have. We're about to beat it out of here.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat in 2 sides or a meat in 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck Cheeseburger Basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Hi, John. You have messages.
Not now, phone. I'm driving.
You know you want to text your friends.
Texting and driving is illegal. No distractions, period. People die that way. Eating, putting on makeup.
Scroll through your music?
Nope.
Your girlfriend just texted. She's bored.
Sorry, not worth dying for.
Good call. She seems a little clingy.
Don't text your life goodbye. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sales. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.